WS. Get your purple lights up. The Cleveland Browns are coming to Baltimore to do something that they haven't really done, which is wreck the Ravens' season. I know that this guy would love that more than anyone. He is not only a reporter for all things Cleveland sports for 92.3 The Fan out in the land of Cleve. He is also a Clevelander and a true dieharder who is waiting for the parade for the Browns the way he patiently awaited the Cavaliers as well as the Indians. We welcome Daryl Ruiter on. You can find him at WriterWrongFan out on Twitter. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you. And, hey, man, you have a chance to go above 500 here this week. There really is a lot at stake for the Browns, and I don't think anybody here expects this to be an easy game, Daryl.
No, absolutely not, Nestor. Happy holidays to you as well. This is the first time, you alluded to it, this is the first time ever that the Cleveland Browns have a chance to stick it to the Baltimore Ravens. They've never played really any meaningful football against each other. Rivalry, just by nature of the fact the Ravens, of course, used to reside in Cleveland, but from a football standpoint, it's not a rivalry. It hasn't been a rivalry, and so this is the first opportunity the Browns can, as you said, wreck the Ravens season and send them south for the summer, or the winter, I should say.
Well, look, we've seen all the results. I've watched them play a little bit. Some thoughts about what's better here and what was better about Hugh Jackson not being there. I know you write about it a lot. You talk about it a lot. But I haven't had you on. And the last time I had you on, Hugh was the coach, and it was 3 months ago. It just was a long time ago. And it feels like dog years when you consider Joe Flacco was still the quarterback, right?
Yeah, a lot has changed since these teams first met in Cleveland. Of course, the Browns won that game 12-9 in overtime, but Hugh Jackson's no longer the coach. Baker Mayfield has completely taken off and proven himself to be the Browns' long-lost, awaited franchise quarterback. The numbers that he has put up have been fantastic. In 12 starts, he's just 2 touchdown passes shy of tying the NFL rookie touchdown passing record. Russell Wilson and Peyton Manning own it at 26. They needed 16 starts to do it. Baker's 2 shy, and he's done it in 12. So he has had himself an outstanding rookie season as he's taken over. The Browns are one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. They've won 5 of their last 6 football games. Greg Williams has all of a sudden worked his way into the conversation to potentially have the interim tag removed and be named the permanent head coach. That's become a hot button of conversation here in Cleveland. So Sunday not only is going to be a lot of fun, but there are a lot of things a lot of developments that come not only with the game, but also the results as well.
All right, so the development of Baker Mayfield, give me the 10-cent version of the Hugh Jackson, why he needed to go in the middle of the year.
He was a cancer. Him and Todd Haley didn't get along. I think Todd Haley was intentionally sabotaging the offense with Baker so that he could take over for Hugh Jackson when Hugh got fired. And the organization made the decision they were not going to reward Todd Haley for doing something like that. But their dispute, their disagreement between themselves, the fact that Hugh Jackson's a head coach, grown man, spending all his time complaining, whining, trying to make himself look good instead of taking true ultimate control and responsibility of the organization as a head coach. If you're a Browns fan, if you're a Ravens fan, and if you're a Steelers fan, the best thing that can happen to you is the Cincinnati Bengals are dumb enough to fire Marvin Lewis and make Hugh Jackson their new head coach, because guess what? That's going to be 1 to 2 wins a year for you. He's not a good coach. He's not a good leader of men. He's got a few people in the national media, Buffalo, that he's real good friends with, but he showed his true colors, and it took the Cleveland Browns entirely too long to figure it out, because I think that had Hugh Jackson not been brought back this year, the Cleveland Browns would be the team making the playoffs rather than talking about maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Baltimore Ravens, because you look at what the Browns have been without Hugh Jackson, they look like a playoff caliber football team. They were a joke with Hugh Jackson on the sideline.
Daryl Ruiter's here. He is out in Cleveland and suffering through post-LeBron. I visited LeBron in L.A. last week, Daryl, but you squeezed you squeezed the juice out of all of that. All the 2 trips in there and the championship and all that. the Browns thing feels like it's at the beginning of something interesting, and this would be the beginning of something interesting. I know you're a baseball guy and you cover the Tribe. We go back here in Baltimore to the year before the Ravens or the Orioles made the playoffs. They beat the Red Sox on the last night of the season after a rain delay and all sorts of weird things that happened and knocked the Red Sox out of the playoffs. And it was the only accomplishment since, like, Davey Johnson, right? And there was this incredible Oriole pride about we knocked the Red Sox out of the playoffs. Isn't that awesome? I would think that in Cleveland, and I've been coming out there for 30 years. I've known you a long time. The Browns have not won much. They've been a punching bag. They've been a piñata. They've been a joke. This would be a little bit of a mini weird Super Bowl in some way for everybody in the building, everybody in the organization, for people like you that have some disdain for the Ravens and Art Modell. This is, to your point, I mean, the one chance the Browns have, the first chance Baker Mayfield has to stick it to Baltimore. And I don't think that's lost on anybody here, dude.
No, and you know what? The Browns are no longer a laughing stock. They're no longer a punchline or a bye week. I mean, the Ravens better come ready to play Sunday afternoon. They're not going to walk all over the Cleveland Browns. Now, I do think that the Ravens are ultimately going to win this football game because I do believe they're just they're a step ahead of the Browns. But you know, Baltimore's not going to be able to have the luxury. These are not the same old laughable, bumbling, stumbling, stupid Cleveland Browns anymore. The Browns are going to be a force within this division to be reckoned with. You know, this is the best turnaround. Remember, this is a football team that didn't win a single football game last year, and they've won 7 this year already. The Browns are playing for a winning record. They really want to finish the season 8-7-1. It'd be just the third time since this team has come back that they'd finish above 500. They've already secured a winning record within the AFC North, which they've never done before.
Well, this is sort of the closest thing to a playoff game that they're going to have anytime soon.
And that's how they're treating it.
That makes all of us nervous, Daryl Ruiter. I don't know what to say here. The defense in containing Lamar Jackson, and I'm sure you got an up-close look at that on Saturday night along with your eggnog out there. It is fascinating, man, and I've been here talking about it every day for the last 8 weeks. And, you know, a $25 million decorated quarterback who throws the ball better, reads defenses better, can't get on the field. Because it's so hard to catch this guy, it's so hard to defense this. But the complementary football part of this that we always hear coaches talk about is really what this is about. It's about resting your defense. It's about being in 2nd and 3 and 2nd and 4 all day long. It's about keeping the ball. It's about taking a 3-hour football game and making it a 2-hour and 40-minute football game. All of the above, and they've been very, very, very successful at putting their will on the game, even against the Kansas City Chiefs, to the point where they almost beat a team that everybody perceived as being much better on the road. Right. And then they went out and beat a team that everybody perceived as being better on the road by 2 touchdowns on 6 days rest and flying 3,000 miles. So they're going to be a tough out, and I don't know what the Browns have under the hood and what, you know, Greg Williams is going to do. Hopefully not a bounty. I mean, you know, I would never want to mention a bounty in Greg Williams. I wouldn't do that, Daryl. But I know that part of this thing here for them is going to be a sense of pride to come after Lamar Jackson in a way that maybe the last 7 or 8 teams haven't.
Well, they know they got to stop the run, okay? Lamar Jackson can't throw the football. That's one thing we've seen. And especially he can't throw the football going to his right. So, and I'm sure that the Browns have been able to pick up some of those tendencies. I don't know, and I don't want to take away anything that Lamar has done, but I don't think he's going to be long for the National Football League playing the way he plays, because you don't want to be putting your quarterback in harm's way to take those vicious hits from linebackers, corners, and safeties the way he is with the way he runs. Now, it's been very effective for the Ravens. That's why he is a big reason why, since they made the change to him, that they've gotten themselves atop the division entering Week 17. He is lethal with his feet. He can still beat you with his arm by sucking you in to try and stop him, and you come up and get close to him. Next thing you know, he pops it over your head, and you give up a big play to a tight end or a receiver or even a running back in the flat. Those are very dangerous qualities he has. I just don't know the longevity that he's going to have. RG3 didn't last long doing that. Michael, I don't know if Michael Vick's the comparison. Michael Vick, I think, is the one quarterback that was able to make it work and have
Michael Vick threw the ball better than he throws the ball right now.
Right. What I'm getting at, though, Nestor, is I think if Lamar develops his arm, he will be able to have, I'm talking strictly on the field, forgetting everything that happened to Vic off the field, but I think that Lamar has the potential to have as good a career as Michael Vick does, as long as he's able to balance the feet with the arm and also take care of himself and not subject himself to too many of those vicious defensive hits. But he is a dangerous football player, and trust me, the Cleveland Browns are not looking forward to having to stop him. They got a little taste of it with Jeff Driscoll last week with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I can tell you the Browns are approaching this football game with a tremendous amount of respect, and it's not lip service, it's legitimate respect for the talent that Lamar Jackson possesses as a quarterback as well as a runner.
Daryl Ruiter does all things Browns and sometimes the Cavs for 92.3 The Fan out in the land of Cleve. He'll be in Baltimore for the crab cakes and the New Year's celebrations and the fireworks of a final weekend in the National Football League with a dangling coach. You can find him out at Right or Wrong Fan out on Twitter. That's RUITER Wrong Fan as well. The coaching situation, unsettled where you are. I mean, it's all settled now because the Ravens sent out a press release. Harbaugh's dangling with a year left. There are these very enticing jobs out there. Cleveland might be one of them, Green Bay, maybe Miami, maybe Jacksonville. Lots of different places where you're going to have a chance to take a job and have some football players.
Right.
What becomes of the Cleveland Browns? I mean, this is a lot about Dorsey and a lot about the ownership. You got a quarterback. Now, who's the coach going to be?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I don't have an answer for you, and neither do the Cleveland Browns. One thing is clear, Greg Williams has gotten himself in the conversation. They're going to go through this process. Make no mistake about it. They're going to go through the coaching interview process here once the season is over. John Dorsey and I'm guessing the owners, Jimmy and Dee Haslam, will be involved. Chief Strategy Officer Paul DePodesta, I would imagine he's going to be involved. Some other members of the front office, but they'll go through this process. Now, if the dust settles when they're done in a week or 10 days or 2 weeks or however long it takes, and they ultimately decide, yeah, Greg Williams is the guy that they want, then we'll see how this thing goes forward. Freddie Kitchens has done a great job with this offense since taking over for Todd Haley. He's doing what they pay Todd Haley to do. Like, he's used the reason Baker Mayfield's been so good, Nestor, is because they're putting plays in and having him execute stuff that he's comfortable with and that the offense is comfortable with. And novel concept, they're actually coaching the players and calling the game to the players' strengths and not trying to, put guys in awkward positions and then yelling, well, this is our system, you have to do it my way. That's not what they're doing, and it's paying massive dividends. And I know that the Browns are very high on Kitchens. There's discussion that he's going to get some head coaching interviews or he might even get a head coaching job this offseason. I think it might be a little early, a little prisoner of the moment stuff, but, who knows? So the Browns job, I think, is, if not the most attractive, it's definitely top two attractive in the league. I'd say Green Bay's right there.
Well, you have a young quarterback. I mean, if you have the quarterback and if you believe in the quarterback and you believe you can win with the quarterback, you want that job,
Right. I mean, the Browns are ready to win football games in 2019 and compete for the division and compete for a playoff spot. Like, this isn't a rebuilding project anymore. John Dorsey's got a ton of cap space. He's got a ton of draft picks in. So he'll be able to add some depth. It's not like he's going to go out and replace 15 of the 22 starters like he did last offseason. He doesn't need to do that. Maybe he needs to tweak, 4 or 5 of those and then fill in some depth behind it. But the football team's ready to win now, so whomever ends up being the head coach, they will be expected to win from day one.
Daryl Ruiter is Right or Wrong fan out in the land of Cleve, and Black Monday ahead for a lot of places. What a weekend, right? What a season this has been here in your place. Hard Knocks, Fire and Co. I mean, and not 0-16 or 1-15 or 3-12 right now or whatever. I mean, you've got a fan base that has some hope all of a sudden and is about to pick a coach and about to pick some football players and go into the offseason with some cap space and all of that. There's going to be a lot of movement into the future, but this is going to be a wild scramble on Sunday because someone's going to get upset. Someone's going to get knocked out that thinks they're going to go in. You just got to make sure it's not you.
Yeah, and, if you would have told me going into the season that the Cleveland Browns would be playing a Week 17 game in Baltimore to finish the season above 500, but also with the added benefit of being able to wreck the Ravens season, I would have laughed at you. I just didn't think it was, plausible or possible coming off of what they were last year. So all the credit in the world goes to Baker Mayfield, Greg Williams, the Browns for turning their season around. The franchise now, all the arrows are pointing up. You have to take them seriously. The jokes are gone and done and over with and all those type of things. So now it's about winning football games. And the Cleveland Browns, they got a little taste of playoff football in Denver. They went out to Denver and they beat the Broncos 17-16. Last week against Cincinnati was another playoff game, so to speak, because they had to win to keep themselves alive or whatnot. So I think that the type of football and the level of competition and the intensity that's come with these games here in December, Nestor, I think that helps them going forward into 2019 because, this is the type of brand of football the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens have been playing for the last 20 years.
Surprised to see the Steelers just go by the wayside. This has been kind of shocking. Yeah. And I think the whole last month's been shocking to see the teams that, the Kansas Cities, the San Diegos, all these, Houston, all these teams, New England have taken on bad beats after Thanksgiving, right? They all look vulnerable. Let's put it to you that way.
I admit, I totally got the stretch run of this season completely wrong, both where the Browns are concerned and as well as the division is concerned. When they were 7-2-1, I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers had the division sewn up. I already given them the divisional championship, and here the Ravens have not only chased them down, but they have passed them. Baltimore wins Sunday, they win the division. It's over. It doesn't matter what Pittsburgh does in Cincinnati. So that is a surprise. I thought when Hugh Jackson got fired that the Browns were just going to, aimlessly wander the way to stumble to the end of the season, and it was just going to be so miserable and whatnot, and it's been the exact opposite. This has been the most fun football I've watched in years. They've won 5 of 6 games. You got to go back to the 2007 season for the Browns to play that type of football. They won 10 games that year. So it's been an exciting end of the season. Certainly it is gone a few different directions that I certainly didn't expect it to. But, hey, that's why you play the games. That's why you follow the game. That's why we watch the game. Because you never know what can ultimately happen, and this has been a lot of fun here down the stretch.
My dude, travel safely. I hope you had a great holiday. We'll look forward to seeing you in Baltimore this week, and buckle up the chin straps. Anything's possible around here. I keep saying that in regard to Flacco and Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson, and how this game's going to play out, and how a lot of these games are going to play out. A very, very exciting weekend of football here, man.
The number one broadcast team for CBS will be calling Cleveland Browns at Baltimore Ravens Sunday. That tells you all you need to know about how important that game's going to be and how fun it will.
And how they expect it to be close, too. Closer than some of the other games. So appreciate you, Daryl. As always, man, we'll see you soon.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Daryl Ruiter. He is Right or Wrong fan. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.